Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Sullivan family. So this is our, what we're going to call it, our energy crisis nightmare update, cost of living crisis, what is going on. Yeah, so this is our update basically from a couple of days ago when we received that nightmare email. The email that everybody dreads, the one that says that you are now going to have to pay £4,000 a month for your energy, which, although the rational part of your mind is telling you is wrong, inherently wrong, the other side of it, of your brain is going, well, if this is right, oh my God, you know, so it's quite scary, isn't it? It's quite scary to receive information like that.
That's part of the problem though, isn't it? People don't know what to expect at the moment. So, you know, you get given something like that and you think, you see so many stories on TV and everywhere else that people are being charged ridiculous amounts of money that you kind of think, is that actually what we're going to have to pay?
Yeah.
So
it's a little bit scary.
It was quite stressful. We panicked quite a lot, and because you would. So you know they're telling you that in a week's time they're going to take £4,000 out of your bank account, and you just think, I haven't got £4,000 for you to take out my bank account. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if you know, looking back on it logically now, if they had tried to take that, it would have bounced anyway because there wouldn't be that much money in the account, so they wouldn't have been able to take it anyway. But you know, your initial kind of panic is they can't take that money. That will leave us with nothing for the rest of the month. No money to spend, no money to buy food, no money to pay for anything, no other bills, nothing, no rent, nothing. So that's the kind of initial panic.
But can I just say thank you so much to everybody for all of your comments. They've been we've
had so many comments and so many messages,
fantastic comments of support, but also comments that have really kind of got to us a little bit, you know, in the way that you've kind of explained how you're all struggling in your own way.
I think you know everybody's struggling, and you see, like I said, you see things on TV and everything, but when you actually hear it from people, you know, we've had people contact us saying that, you know, they can only afford to eat a few times a week because they can't afford the heating and to eat. It's become a bit of a throwaway comment now in government and everything, you know, you heat or eat, and it's become just a little bit of a kind of throwaway thing.
It's become a saying, hasn't it?
You know, people are literally choosing between either heating their homes or eating or feeding their family, and it's disgusting, it's disgraceful. And we've had quite a lot of people contact us saying that the same sorts of things has happened to them, that they've been charged loads of money, that, you know, that they don't know how they're going to pay their bills, that they don't know really where they need to, you know, who they turn to, what they do. You know, I think everyone's feeling just really scared by the whole situation, and it's not made any easier by, well, anybody really.
I think it also opens your eyes, or it's opened our eyes to how other people are really struggling as well. You know, you hear it on the news, you see it on the news, but it's not until you know, you see it for yourself, you know, through messages that we've received, that it kind of really brings it home, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, we're fortunate enough to have a platform now to be able to discuss this, and also to make companies sit up and listen, which is what basically happened yesterday, wasn't it? So let's get into it.
Right, so yesterday, I mean, the first kind of port of call was to get hold of Eon. We tried the night before. You tried Twitter, you tried Facebook. We tried all sorts of ways, phone, everything, to get hold of them. Nobody replied. But the first thing we did receive from Eon on yesterday morning, what day was it yesterday? Wednesday morning, was an email to say, we see you've cancelled your direct debit. So they can't answer any of your questions, but they can tell you that you've cancelled money that you're paying to them. But anyway, so Ben, you were on the phone for about
40. I think. Well, I was in the queue for about 45 minutes, and then ended up speaking to one of the call centre people and explaining our situation. But we'd done our homework.
So while he'd been on the phone, I'd gone back through our Eon account, as back as a year ago, basically, to find out what I wanted to find out was if we're using the same amount of energy as we were using this time last year. And also I wanted to work out what the kilowatt hours we were being charged for last year were and what they are this year, and also the standing charge, because obviously you get you pay for your energy by kilowatt hour, but you also pay a standing charge, a daily standing charge for your gas and electricity. Now, gas last year was about, on here, ours was, we were paying 21p, just under 21p per day standing charge. And this year it's nearly 26p per day standing charge. Electricity was 22p just under per day last year. And this year it's nearly 48p. So that's doubled. More than doubled, just for your standing daily charge. That's what you pay per day, regardless of what you use. Then obviously you've got your kilowatt hours on top. So like last year for electricity, it was 18 pence per kilowatt hour for electricity. This year it's 26.5p per kilowatt hour. Gas was 3 pence per kilowatt hour, and this year it's nearly 7 pence per kilowatt hour. And this is before the next increase as well. So it's it's electricity's gone up by what, a third, something like that, and well, gas has doubled. So when they say they're capping the energy bills at 2.5 grand, it doesn't mean they're capping the energy bills at 2.5 grand. That's kind of worked out. They're capping the kilowatt hour fee charge. So for an average home, if you've got an average home, that's well insulated, nice roof, everything else on it, only a few people in the house, you'll probably only pay about 2.5 grand. But for anybody else who's got, extra equipment, we've had lots of people that have got in touch with us that
have got
medical conditions, so they've got medical equipment, like us, we've got a large family. Obviously we expect to pay more because we've got a lot of people in the house. Our house isn't big, but we expect to pay more because we use more energy. We know we use more energy. We know we use more electricity. We know we use more gas. But my point was I wanted to go through and make sure that we weren't suddenly being charged, have we got something wrong in the house? So that was kind of the first sort of call, wasn't it?
To put it into perspective, our annual energy costs were £3,000 before the first rise.
So, we were never going to pay £2,500.
So when they were saying that it was going to be capped at £2,500, we were paying £3,000 before the energy price rose at the start of this year.
We know that, but I think a lot of people are under the illusion that all they will pay is 2.5 grand and they won't pay anymore. It doesn't work like that. That's just it's going to be capped. I mean, we don't actually know what it's going to be, what the rates are that it's going to be capped at yet, because we haven't been told. And I actually asked Eon that yesterday when I spoke to them. I said, can you tell me what the rates are going to be capped at so that I can work it out for myself? But they didn't actually know. So, we don't know what that's going to be capped at yet. But what they're saying is for an average household, you shouldn't pay more. They make it very difficult to understand. They say this is, you see it on the TV, it's going to be capped at that. Therefore, everybody suddenly thinks, oh, we won't have to pay any more than, I'm going to go and put my heating on because I won't have to pay any more than 2.5 grand. That's not the case at all. I say 2.5 grand, that's quite a lot of money. I don't mean it like that, but we already, like we said, we already knew we'd be paying more than that because we already pay more than that anyway. I mean, but we really, with the increase, we should be looking at about £6,000 or £7,000 a year, which is extortionate. It is extortionate, but especially when you were paying half of that last year for the same amount of energy. But that's where we are. But what I wanted to do yesterday while he was on the phone was make sure I had everything right. So in my own head, have we got a leak somewhere? Is something been left on that we don't know about? But I worked out that based on last year's kind of usage and this year's usage, that we were, I think it was, where did I work it out? So last year we were roughly using 246 kilowatt hours per week. This year is roughly about 370, so about 125 kilowatt hours per week more, which old money would have worked out about £10 more for gas per week, which would be about right. We've got teenagers, they're in the shower, the little ones have a shower. That would be about a proper increase, about £10 a month. I mean, now you look at a week, now that's probably about £40 a week. But that was what it would be, that amount, 125 kilowatt hours per week would be. So we use roughly about 55 kilowatt hour per day on gas. That's kind of multiplied by the year and then divided by the days, so that was roughly So that's where we kind of knew we were at.
That's what we worked out, wasn't it?
So I worked out if they were projecting £50,000, because that was the other thing. It went up to £50,000 yesterday morning. When we checked our actual bill, it was up at 50,000. So it gone up 10 grand overnight. So I worked out that if that was the case and that was how much we were using, then that would mean that the charges were going up from 7p to £2.50 per kilowatt hour, and that was just no way right. So we got through to somebody finally, and we asked all these questions. And to be fair, I mean, I wouldn't want to work for any of these energy companies at the moment. They're just normal people like we are, just probably having the same problems. So it's not their fault. So we spoke with the lady who was really nice, and she said, to be honest, I don't know why your bill is so much.
She couldn't give us an answer.
I don't know why. I don't know what their numbers are going to be capped at, and but it doesn't look right and it doesn't sound right. So she said she'd do some investigations, didn't she, and get back to us. She was really helpful. So anyway, meanwhile, obviously it had been on my social media, it had been on YouTube. So obviously the papers picked it up at the same time.
Just put it into context. The local tabloids do keep an eye on our social media, don't they?
They do with any YouTubers, really.
The Scottish Sun, the Scottish Sun, the Scottish Mail.
Which is why we quite often have things go out in the Sun that we don't even know that are there. But anyway, sometimes it can, benefit in your favour. Anyway, it went out in the papers. We did get contacted by a few people, but we said, no, we're just going to hold off because obviously something's happened and we want to make sure we've got our facts straight first. But I think it was about 2:30. You've got a phone call, didn't you, from somebody at the top who'd seen it all on social media, was very apologetic. But this is the thing as well, because we have a voice and we have a platform that we can put these things out on. We got dealt with pretty fast.
Oh, rapidly.
Yeah, because it's gone out in the media and they don't want it to go out in the media. They want those. But what about people that don't have a platform? That's what we said to them. What about people that haven't got a voice, or don't know how to get in touch with these companies, or don't have the time to sit on the phone, or can't sit on the phone for an hour trying to work these things out?
Well, we said yesterday, we've got elderly relatives that if they were to receive that email like we did, that was asking
that
for
frightens me. I know that if one of
they would just pay it, wouldn't
they? And because they're of the generation that you pay your bills, you pay your way, and I know that some of my they probably would ask the rest of the family, but technically, if they got landed with something like that, that would really scare them. It scared me, but that would really scare them, and they would go, I don't know how I'm going to pay this. I'm, up to they go and get all their savings out to pay it. This is what we were trying to explain yesterday to the company. There's vulnerable people out there. There's elderly people. People that people don't check their bank accounts all the time. What if we had missed that email yesterday and we hadn't checked our bank account and we weren't on top of everything, and all of a sudden we had no money? You've got people that, like us, that's our money for the month. We don't have money to fall back on. Who does nowadays? Unless you're earning a lot of money, most people don't have savings to fall back on, that they could just, it's okay, I can use my savings for this month and we'll get that money back. We don't have any money like that. If we haven't got that money for the month, then we don't live for the month. And most people at the moment are living like that. So this is why I'm really angry about it still. Yeah.
I'm glad we got some resolution yesterday, though. It was amazing how quickly, once it got out into the Sun, because it went out into the Scottish Sun, didn't it, yesterday afternoon? And it's amazing how quickly Eon got in touch with us. Actually, it was rapid. And
basically,
they couldn't have been more apologetic.
What happened? I mean, and I'll say the same all the time. I won't phone people up and have a go at it because they're just doing a job. I hate that when people phone up and start shouting down the phone at these people on the phone. They're just doing their job. It's not their fault. They are just earning money like the rest of us. It's not their fault. You don't need to be speaking to people like that. They'll try and, unless they speak to you like that, then that's a different matter. But most of these people are just trying to do their job, and at the moment, they must be dealing with so many complaints. I wouldn't want to work there for sure. But anyway, we spoke to somebody in the afternoon, and she said that she'd looked into it, and they had the regional director looking into it as well, and he was there in the office at the time, and that there had been an error. Well, who knows? So basically,
do you think
we give our meter reading in every single month. Ben does our meter reading every single month, so we don't get scammed, right? And this is what people should really do.
Can I just say something? So people have been suggesting we get a smart meter, right? I applied for a smart meter 2 years ago. I applied for a smart meter a year ago, and every time I phoned Eon to get the smart meter fitted, they told me they couldn't get an engineer locally. We
actually had an appointment, and they were supposed to come out 3 times. Yeah. We've had an appointment. They were supposed to come out, and they kept cancelling. And then they said, we haven't got anybody in your area. You think we lived on Mars, really?
The trade-off then was, well, if they're not going to give us a smart meter, in the current climate, we are going to make damn sure we do our monthly meter readings to make sure that
Bearing in mind, they still keep phoning us up and saying, can we fit a smart meter? And we'll say, yeah, come and fit a smart meter. And then we'll get a phone call from another department saying, we can't fit a smart meter. Even the email that we received from them yesterday said, you should get a smart meter fitted. And we're like, are you serious? We've been trying to get a smart meter fitted for I don't know how long, but whenever, it was supposed to get it fitted, there's nobody there to fit it, or they don't have engineers in our area. And you're like, but I had an appointment for someone to come out, and you're telling me now there's nobody there. So anyway, that's a whole different story. So basically, what had happened, they'd looked into it. What had happened was, now bearing in mind, we give our meter readings every month, so I could see when I went onto the bill, I could see what we'd used and what we'd paid for it. And we actually don't owe them any money. We owed them about £100. So last month we used about just under, it was £290 worth of gas and electric last month. The month before was about 100 and something, I think. But obviously we're paying £400 a month, so it was covering it all. So I think we owed about £120. So our account is £120 in debit. Now, bearing in mind there would be a £400 payment normally going out, so then we'd be £300 in credit until the next time. So our bill roughly at the moment is coming in about £300 a month. So we've been paying more, but obviously paying off what you owed before, etc., etc. So they had charged us for. Let's just get this up. So. She discussed this on the phone, but we got it on an email because we said, can we have it in writing as well?
Basically, the thing that we want to do is to give you the right information. We don't want to give you any misinformation or any incorrect information. So we've asked Eon to send us an email to give us all of the correct information and where they went wrong and all that kind of
So basically, just to confirm as discussed...
this is the email.
Yeah, this is absolutely incorrect. It's not rocket science. We have your annual gas usage set at 205 kilowatt hours. So that's 205,000 kilowatt hours per year. So annual usage, 205,000 kilowatt hours. But based on the readings we have, I've manually calculated this to be closer to 39,000. Well, I actually manually calculated it over the year to be 20,000. So there's still 19,000 out. Because 55 kilowatt hours per day times 365 is about just over 20,000. So they've put, I would estimate that your monthly payments to cover gas and electric based on the unit prices recently announced as part of the new energy guarantee, which I can't actually find anywhere, but I'm sure there's somewhere, would be closer to 588. This will also be reduced by £66 a month because that's how Eon are doing it, for the £400 government rebate. So we're looking at about between £500 and £600 a month. Now, £500 to £600 a month all of a sudden sounds really quite cheap compared to 4,000. Funny how it changes your mindset into, actually
relief.
That's not bad.
So your first thought is relief. Oh, at least it's not £4,000. And then you go, hang on a minute. So we've increased from £240 a month at the start of the year
400
to 400 in April, and we're now increasing to nearly 600
which
in October.
Can't pay. We don't have 600, so we don't get 400, and that's that. But it's funny how your mindset suddenly changes to going, oh, that's not as bad as 4,000, which is very clever, really. Now, they're saying that, so they say we've been looking at what seems to have caused this, and it seems that your meter exchange. We kept receiving estimated reads from your old meter, which we don't have. Then when someone tried to fix this, they unfortunately didn't do the right thing. We've now got the ball rolling. We should get this corrected. It normally takes about 6 weeks. So we had problems with the meter a long time ago. We got a new meter fitted, so there is no old meter.
Yeah, the old meter was leaking, so obviously they came out all trans.
We're talking about 3 years ago.
And they replaced the meter.
This is where, Ben's maybe not quite as cynical as I am, but this is where I get a little bit confused. We had all the problems with the meter about 3 years ago. It all got sorted out. We've not had a problem with our bill since. Yeah. we've been paying what we've been paying. We've had no giant estimates or anything like that. Now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we have this old meter reading that's popped up from somewhere. Now, we give our meter readings in every month. So where is this estimated one?
So 𝚘𝚘 are blaming the subcontracted company they use to take your So if you don't have a smart meter, what they'll do is when you give your readings every month, you give your readings every month, but to back that up, they'll send a guy out that they trust to do a meter reading like once every 2 or 3 months. It's that company that told E.ON that we were using 250,000 units of gas.
We haven't, and nobody thought that was odd. And plus, the last time we had anybody round was months ago, and I mean months ago, probably about 6, actually probably before Flo was born, and she's nearly 6 months old. So how come all of a sudden this is just flagged up now? But it all seems a bit dodgy to me.
But what it has flagged up, and this is what E.ON was saying yesterday, they're now talking to all of the energy companies because we flagged up this issue
with the bill.
But the bill is automated. So what these guys do is they submit their readings to E.ON. It's an automated process. They just then the computer algorithm just chucks out an email to you to tell you that you owe them 50 grand.
So basically what we're saying is we've been given meter readings. Now we can see from our meter readings on our bill that we don't owe any more money than that. Now this other company comes in, they chuck in this stuff. What they're saying is that nobody is checking that these things go together.
Oh, right.
Nobody is checking for major discrepancies on people's bills. Now anybody can see by looking at that bill and looking at the amount that they were going to charge us next month that doesn't add up. You know, why are they being charged 4 grand? Somewhere along the line, there should be somebody, you know, they're a big enough company, they earn enough money to be able to have somebody along the line checking these things, because we've had other people contact us saying, yeah, that happened to me and this happened to me. Now, for every person that they accidentally take £4,000 off or an overpayment from, they earn interest on that. Yeah, it takes you about a month to get your money back, so they've earned a month's interest on that.
Well, it's not just that; it's the journey you have to go on to try and get your money back,
and it's your money. You know, now a lot of these mistakes, these are big companies. I know people make mistakes, but these are big companies. They have enough money to employ people to check these things. And the fact of the matter that yes, we found out now it's a mistake. No, we don't owe that money. I knew we didn't owe that money anyway. I'm panicking me. Like Ben said, you know, one part of me was like, oh my God, we can't possibly pay this money. The other part of me is, this must be a mistake. This is ridiculous. What I'm the most angry about is the fact that if we hadn't noticed, or we hadn't seen, or we hadn't, you know, had the courage to stand up to a company, they would have taken that money from us next month without any question. They would have just taken. There's nobody in that long line of people that checked that bill. And I know that you probably say, well, there's millions of customers. They're a big company. They can afford to have some kind of system in place.
Well, they could have a computer algorithm in place that will go, hang on a minute,
because it's not,
last month it was this month it's that. That's not right.
It's not just us that it's happened to. You know, there's other people that this has happened to as well. And this is what makes me the most angry, is that they would have taken that money from us without a thought. I mean, we've had other companies do this to us in the past. You know, another company did it to us once before, and we were left like 2 grand down one month. It
was Christmas. Do you remember?
It was Christmas. Yeah, I won't name the company, but you know, it was really, really, and we were really struggling for cash. You know, we're okay. We can get through the month now, and we can afford everything that we need to pay for, but we don't have that extra bit left over, and we don't have a spare 4 grand tucked away to get us through the month, as most people don't. Back then, we didn't even, you know, we were really struggling back then. But you're going back like 8 years. Anyway, my point is, this is why I'm so angry. And like we said to the company yesterday, you have a responsibility to customers to be checking these things. You've got a lot of vulnerable people, a lot of, you know, elderly people that don't check these things. It's your company's responsibility to be checking these things. As a customer, you shouldn't have to. You should, but you shouldn't have to check these things. They would have taken that money next month without a worry. I mean, the first thing we did was cancel our direct debit, and I will pay them what we owe. So, like I put in my post last night, I think the things that I would suggest to people is, you know, if you think something is wrong, contact the company. Even if it takes you an hour to get through, contact the company. Go through your old bills, you know, like I did, work out what you're paying, make sure you have a look at an old bill and see if you're using roughly the same amount of energy, just to check that nothing is kind of, you know, you haven't got gas leak or something.
If you look at your bill, it will break down your kilowatt hour price. So if you look at last year's, compare it to now, and then we'll look at October's increase, you know, it's keeping on, because you can quickly do the maths on a calculator and go, well, hang on a minute, it's saying there that I used 15,000 units at that price, right? So you can quickly calculate what your bill should be. And if they are asking for an extortionate amount of money, then just cancel your direct debit.
Yeah.
Cancel
I mean,
it.
I know you've got people people say, Martin Lewis was on the TV the other day saying, don't cancel your direct debit because you actually get it cheaper when you pay by direct debit. But when you're facing a bill of $4,000, I'm going to cancel my direct debit. They're not going to take that money from me, you know, because if we hadn't managed to get it sorted out yesterday,
it took all day. It took all day.
It took us both all day. I wasted an entire day doing it, and I haven't really got time to do it. But you know, our direct debit comes out on the 1st, so that's in just over a week's time. You've got to allow 2 days for it to cancel. So if we hadn't have got that sorted, we were still looking at. So I had to cancel it. There was no, you know, I mean, I could set one up back again if I wanted to, but I don't trust them now, so I will go. And I'm not suggesting that you don't pay your bill. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. Because yes, the prices are extortionate, but you should still, you know, pay what you can. So we will go on now, and we will submit our meter readings as we do every month.
Yeah, like we always do, and we're going to pay whatever they ask us to pay on that month. We'll pay, because you can just pay it on your app.
We'll pay for what we use unless it's over what we can afford, and then we'll pay what we can afford. And then the rest of it will just have to stay on our account until we can afford to pay it off, and that's just the way it's got to be. But I would suggest that, you know, don't feel intimidated by these big companies the thing is, it's not even, like I've said before, it's not even the middle companies' fault. It's the companies at the very, very top, and they are making billions and billions of pounds worth of profit off the backs of people that don't have any money, basically, like normal working class people, normal people, vulnerable, elderly. They're making billions, and people are dying. People can't afford to eat. People can't, you know, they can't afford to heat their homes. They're sitting there in freezing cold, not able to, you know, this is pushing people to the edge. And I don't think that the government are quite understanding that. You know, a £400 rebate, what's that going to do? And most companies are giving it out in £60 a month. You might as well, do you know what I mean? It's all right. Is it a help? I don't even know if it is a help. I guess it is for some people, but it's better than nothing, I guess. But, you know, this is pushing people to the absolute edge. People were already struggling. You know, businesses are going under, left, right and centre, because they cannot afford these prices. Something has to give in the end. But, you know, don't be scared to phone these companies up and query things. If you think something's wrong, phone them up and query it. You know, check your bill, check you're not being overcharged for anything. Don't go by their estimations. Do your own meter readings. Make sure, you know, if you've got meters, unless you've got a prepayment meter or whatever, do your own meter readings. Make sure that you're submitting them, because I think we've gone along for so long trusting these companies that they're doing the right thing by us, but they're out to make money. You know, they're out to make money. So to them, you know, a £10 off of every customer is billions for them. That you need to make sure that you're checking it yourself, because you can't trust them all the time. And they do make mistakes. You know, they make mistakes just like anybody else. But sometimes their mistakes can be extremely costly and can be the difference between eating and living and not for the normal person. So, yeah, challenge them. Don't, you know, and I intend to, like we said, you know, we'll put people right on what's happened with us, but I will highlight the fact that it still happened and they were still ready to take that money from us without a thought, and nobody along the line to check that was actually correct. So yeah.
So there you go, guys. That's an update on where we are with our energy crisis. My goodness, it was a bit of a crisis, wasn't it? So
stressful.
Yesterday was exhausting. By the end of
day.
it, we'd been on the phone a couple of times. We were trying to get hold of people, but we managed to get it sorted.
I didn't get very much sleep the night before either, no. And now my eyes feel like my eyes don't feel like they're in my body. And I'm very tired, and it was this is the other thing. It's so stressful. Mm-hmm. And even the kid, we try and hide a lot of this stuff. I don't hide everything from the children, because especially the older ones, because they need to know about life.
Yeah.
But, you know, I do try and hide some of it, but they were there when we received it, so they're like, I mean, Noah this morning was like, can I put the light on? I'm like, yes, you can put the light on. He's like, I don't know if I'm allowed to put the light on, because we were joking, but you know, this is the reality for a lot of people. They are choosing whether to put their lights on, put their heating on, you know, and it's a ridiculous situation. But when things are made even more ridiculous by the companies, that makes it even harder. So.
But what we're going to do is, if anything changes going forward now for us with energy, we'll update you again. And if we hear of any way of you know, or any better way of managing your energy, then we'll let you know as well, won't we? You know, if we hear.
Yeah, I've kind of got a bit of a bee in my bonnet about it now.
Yeah, so he's fired up.
I don't like people taking people for. I don't like big companies. You know, we've had it with us before, a few years back, when, you know, these big companies, they storm in thinking that they can take you for a ride, and they can, and it's not fair. And it's not, you know, whilst we've, like we said, you know, we've got a platform to speak out on, and not everybody has, so we'll speak out on behalf of the people that don't have the platform to speak out on. So, you know, it's time that, you know, everyone stood up to these companies. Are so powerful, these people at the top, they're so powerful, they're more powerful than the government, they're more powerful than anything, and that's what's quite scary. And, you know, people need to, at the moment we're all just paying it, aren't we? We're all just going along and paying what they ask, because we don't feel like we have a choice. So,
but there we go, guys, that's the update on our energy crisis. We've made progress. Obviously we're gonna have an energy increase of £200 a month, but it seems better than £4,000 a month, doesn't it, I suppose?
Yeah, slightly.
But there we go. Hope you enjoyed that catch up, guys. Please subscribe to our channel. Please hit the bell for notifications. Don't forget, we've got our link tree in the video description, and you can get it on our channel, to our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.